So this is actually the first live stream on this channel. Not familiar with it, how it works. Not made it part of my character. Like the vlogging. I'm actually on my way to the training spot. To a training spot because I actually don't know where I would like to train today. Vitezia Mountain. Live streaming from Sofia, Bulgaria. Like I said, this is my first live stream. You know, when you do something for the first time, right? You don't want to make it feel awkward. Not for the people who are watching, but also for yourself, I think. At the moment, nobody's watching. Which is actually not a bad thing. Because I have to increase, you know, make it part of the character. Like with the vlogging. You know, if you go on my channel and you would watch my first vlog. See, when you... let's talk a little bit about my vlogging journey. You know, the main reason is for me that I start to speak and communicate better every single day. I'm actually the whole day meeting new people, maintaining relationships, train and work from the phone. I'm doing everything from the phone. I'm operating in multiple countries. I'm over here in Sofia, Bulgaria, simply because I do love a lot of things about Bulgaria. The climate is perfect, in my opinion. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. The summers are good. The humidity is, in comparison with Malta, incredibly very nice. You know, I lived also in Malta. The humidity is incredibly high, which makes it also in the winter surprisingly cold, while it's always above zero. And it feels colder sometimes in Malta. It felt colder in Malta, let's say in end of January. Let's say the cold months. But then sometimes it felt colder, you know, than here in Bulgaria. It's true. Simply because of the humidity. You're over there on an island. Over here in Sofia, Bulgaria, the humidity is great. Now the weather is, after summer, it's actually fantastic. Walking around with my short pants and everything. Lived for 30 years in Holland. Over there it's constantly rain and wind. And cold. And humidity and wind. And here in Bulgaria, you got at the moment the soft winters. In the 16 years ago when I came for the first time in Bulgaria, then the winters were pretty real. Jesus, wait a minute, before I get crashed by a car on my first live stream. Anyway, this is my first live stream. 46. You know, you're never too old for anything, right? A lot of 40 plus old farts act like 40 plus old farts, but I don't believe in. Yeah, there is of course a factor that, you know, that would say comes with the age, but most people don't even believe that I'm almost 47. Within a couple of months I'm gonna be 47. Yikes. Anyway, let's take a look at Vitezia Mountain. Looks great, right? Maybe I'm going over there today. Maybe. By the way, I just did a coffee. This is Holiday Park in Sofia, Bulgaria. The people in Adalia, that is a coffee chain over here in Sofia, Bulgaria. Wow, there's one person, you could see she's the manager, but she also acts really like a quote-unquote manager, totally not humane. And if you watch my vlogs, I'm all about communication with people on the highest level of respect and honor any kind of, you know, action that they take towards you, no matter if it's the person in the supermarket, the security guy in the bank or whatever. You respect everybody. But this person over here, and I'm not gonna say how she's looked like in case people from Bulgaria are watching, she acts very with authority. You know, I also speak a lot about it, right? When people act different because they're in some sort of daily position, and then at nighttime they're back at home in their own life, and then they act weak and whatever, but at daytime they think they have authority over other people. I really don't like that. I could see also the relationship between, let's say, quote unquote, the normal employee, way much more humble. The manager over here also acted towards me, also to other clients, very with some sort of air. You know, if I would own this place over here, this Nadalia, I would fire that cost clients. How simple it can be, you know, just to say, you don't have to fake, but you can show a little bit interest, huh? You show a little bit interest in another human being. The reason that I'm constantly getting in contact with so many people is simply because, first of all, I don't expect anything. I just want to give people a good feeling without expectations, without any expectations, but just how easy it is just to give somebody a little bit of compliment and or, you know, a little bit of advice that will speed up the process in life, right? Especially when I'm on the calisthenics spots. You know how, you know, you see also a lot of people, they train for years and there's no progress. You can pretty much see not one single app. And I'm not saying this with disrespect. I'm saying this, you know, you can speed up your time with the, let's assume you train for 1 hour a day for 10 years, and then there's a person who also does it but is way ahead, and most of the time so yes, I had a phone call coming in. Maybe that's another lesson learned. See, I constantly was pushing the live streams forward because, you know, things, when you add something new in your life, at least in my life, I want to do it on a consistent base. You can try some things, but before you try, just think things through, right? And then does it, you know, fit to your goal? You know, does it add, maybe increases the speed to accomplish your goal? And I think live streaming does fit my daily vlogs, the thousands of videos that I uploaded so far on multiple channels and platforms. You know, very soon start doing the giveaways. I'm thinking still about how I'm gonna do this. I want to do this different than most people, that's some sort of community forming, but also that I filter the people who want to do something with their life and the people who just tag along. Because this is the thing, right? If I would give away cameras, I would love to go that cameras go to people who would, you know, start using it, not people who just like to get something new and then put it in the closet and then there it is, because then it's a tool left unused that could be maybe used by a person who really needs it. You know, more that giveaways go to people who need it. So probably there needs to be some sort of survey, you know, maybe with 3 questions, then select them manually and then put them in some sort of pool. You know, that the giveaways, they go to people who need them. And if you just jump in the live stream, then the giveaways should not go to people oh, I can get this camera, so I got this one, put it in the closet and it collects dust. You know, it's better that somebody starts using it for their benefit, to promote themselves, to market their business, and to make their life easier. You know, all the things that I have in my life or own in the physical world, everything is in the cloud. And so websites and e-commerce stores and all the mumbo jumbo, and everything I'm doing from the phone. You know, I'm 46, I can set up camp under any bushes and act like a bum, but in the meantime, you know, I'm operating in multiple countries from my phone. Is it possible for everybody? Yes, it is. And that's why I also talk a lot about, you know, your mindset, because that's also another thing. How many people would know what to do if they would have all the freedom in the world? You don't have to get up, you don't have to get to your master, you don't have to go to your teacher who gives you all kind of bullshit stories about books that exist for 10 years plus and totally outdated. You know, I mentioned also yesterday an example about, you know, I despised school in the past, you know, because I was bored out of my mind. And it's not the classical stories that how bad schools are. No, if that fits you, then it fits you. But it didn't fit me at all, because first of all, you know, when I was young, I made more money than the teacher probably earned in his whole career in a single week. Just saying. I'm not bragging over here, but the thing is, you know, those people. So for example, the economic teacher guy, you know, he just starts rambling about, and that you need I mentioned it in the vlog yesterday. This guy started talking about how to do accountant stuff, you know, and that's then a side topic. If you want to be a great accountant, be a great accountant and study accountant stuff, but don't implement it as some sort of side thing. Because when you start actually doing something in real life, start a business and grab a pen and give the middle finger to your boss or your teacher, and then you start doing something, then you will get and find yourself a good accountant. But you know, that is also a whole process. It took me also many years to find the right accountant. You know, that's why I also talk a lot about red flags in my vlogs. You know, how to filter the people that fit your goal. And make, you know, not all accountants who say that they're accountants, they will give you the best tax benefits. It doesn't say anything, and the moment that there's a little bit accountant above their office, and then it says I don't know what, this and this tax benefits, you have to ask questions. You know, you have to, before you start to work with an accountant, just ask him all kind of questions. What do you know about outside the country? For me, I have very colorful accountants. They giggle when they can pick up the calculator, and that, you know, those people, I'm always looking for obsessed people. I'm never looking for bench sitters. I'm never looking for people who just want to anticipate, you know, just obsessed people. Whatever you do, try to be the best at it, at least from your own area to start with. Be more obsessed. Don't see it as a side business. People who talk about side businesses, not interested. It's just a temporarily enthusiasm thing. And enthusiasm belongs to the normal people and who do the 9 to 5s. And with all the respect, people who are 9 to 5, we need those people. But it comes with a set of characteristics that simply don't fit with people who, you know, who want to do, let's say, more in life, deep dive into reality. Because that's also another thing, right? I speak a lot about deep dive into reality, get in touch with reality, you know, open, put your ego on the side. People with big egos, you know, you close so many doors. And when it's about closing doors, lying people, And it's not about being judgmental to lying people. Lying people are also people. And I never believe that people wake up in the morning, you know, oh, let's do something bad. No, people also sleep like little babies, take a little doo-doo on the toilet. That's how I see any. Yeah, I have meetings with so many different kind of people, and I ran the past since I was 11, knocking on doors, cleaning bicycles. I started with this from when I was 11, so I have had a lot of human interaction, and I'm addicted to it. I'm obsessed. Now I'm just walking. You know, do I need to walk? Can I get an electric car? Can I get a taxi? Yes, I can. But this is my level of freedom. I just do whatever I want, where I want, when I want it, and what I want. So what I want now is to go to a calisthenics spot and I just walk, because I don't have to be anywhere. There is no master who says between 9 and 5 you have to be here. In the summer you could have 2 weeks of vacation and make pictures of a fucking pizza in another country. Think about it, you know. I also talked about it in yesterday's vlog. No, it's actually not uploaded yet, but you know, a lot of people that they have maybe 2 or 3 weeks off, you know, because their master says you can go on a holiday to another country. Most of the colleagues go to the same destination, making the same pictures of the same ice creams and pizzas, eat a couple of burgers, coming fatter back than you actually were when you try to escape reality, right? And I'm not saying this to disrespect people. I'm always saying things maybe to open your eyes and realize what you're doing. Think about your actions, you know, because a lot of people who repeatedly mention how happy they are, in general they're not. And you know what I always, how you can see when a person is genuinely happy or live very grateful. Watch people when they're alone, how they walk. Because I do this when I have meetings with people, and I'm always 30 minutes earlier over there, so I can see them walking into the coffee place, into maybe at the beer place, maybe whatever. But I always look at how people walk around, and this is also a beautiful thing. I generally, when I meet new people, I love to meet in humane areas. That means you will have homeless people, normal people, let's say it like this, and I always see how they treat other people. Do they treat them? Do they actually look at them? Try to, you know, engage without actually, you know, getting this shoulder knock. There are a lot of people who, let's say, do charity and need all the attention for themselves, and that is then the first thing. And the second thing, the secondary thing, is simply just, yeah, probably not even helping. I know those people who do charity stuff, and it's only because they look good, but you know, they're running around in suits, licking ass the whole day, and don't live an authentic life, and that also, you know, shows in their personal life. I know people in suits who talk about being authentic and that kind of stuff, and stoicism, but when they're at home walking around in their jogging suits and their girlfriends or wives, they get a little bit angry and then they cry. Yeah, see, then I think there is something off. And when it's about stoicism, I always say, as when you lived always a normal life until you were 40, or let's say until you're 50, you lived a normal life. Let's mention a couple of things, you know. You never got arrested, you never got beat up, you never got hit in the face, or etc, etc. There is no necessity for you to be stoic. A little bit control about your emotions, but don't try to be stoic. I always tell the young people, go full in with your emotion and just learn from it. Make mistakes. Also don't be afraid to make mistakes, and also never think about what other people might think, because people think, the amount of people that are actually thinking is very minimal. The amount of people that think about other people, their actions, is even smaller, and the people who think about their own action are even very smaller, but people who think about other people's actions in combination with their own and reactions, those are very rare. And that is something, you know, about evaluation. Evaluate yourself. With who did you talk? How did you treat them? You know, with your body language, with your tonality. You know, you try to, you know, force people upon your ideas. Maybe you felt inside a little bit nervous because they didn't get along with your perspective of life and that kind of stuff. Just observe your feelings afterwards. Try to do better, and try to also, you know, the next time do better. Observe it again. Did you actually improve your inner feelings while you were speaking? Because I'm a high believer in, you know, what you feel inside, you ripple effect outside into the world. You know, I speak with all kind of people from all levels of society, you know, and I'm not bragging. I'm just sharing that I can get along with a lot of people. The only kind of category of people I cannot get along with is fake people, not authentic. You know, I prefer that you're the biggest liar. I prefer that you the biggest, I don't know what, scam artist, but be the biggest. Just go full throttle in. I also say this many times in my vlogs, also sitting with very high level neo-Nazis. The thing is, you're dealing with leaders or you're dealing with followers. Followers, you know, they always need to walk in the herd. The people who, you know, just are leaders, not just who are leaders, you know, they don't have to constantly walk into the herd, with the herd, to be confirmed for what they're living. Because this is another nice thing, right, about sheep who need to walk in the herd, you know, just to maintain their so-called beliefs, which would be cut away instantly when they would separate it from the herd. And this is also a beautiful thing, right? And this is about authenticity. I think that's the right word. The thing is, you know, strip them away from their clothes, put them on the plane in an isolation cell in another country, cut them away, cut the communication off from family and everything, and see what's left of the character. You know, that's a beautiful thing. And it's the same with when I sit with people, you know, who have riding a lease car, driving around with a suit, and they all try to impress me. Not everybody. There are very nice, genuine. They walk the whole day and even in the night in suits. So, you know, those people are all going all the way. But there are a lot of people who, let's say, try to impress me or whatever. You know, I always imagine them. How do you look naked? And this is not a gay thing. This is simply, you know, what is left from you when I strip away your physical world things. In general, not a lot from, you know, when you think about it and think about your own circle. And what if I strip away his Mercedes? What I strip away this? What is left? He start crying. Can he maintain his life? Can he maintain his business? Can he maintain, you know, the relationship that he has with his beautiful, loyal wife? You know, ask yourself those things. What if, and the circumstances not as comfortable as they are now? Because comfort is, in my opinion, the biggest character killer. And the thing is, on top of that, you know, you can top it off with Netflix, watching, eating Cheetos, and grow a beer belly as big as you want because you feel comfortable down. But I always say it is, if you're not on top of your game, and let's say your spouse would leave you, well, then you have to start all over again. It's better to maintain it. I had exes, you know, they said, why don't you get married with a calisthenics spot? Okay, why wouldn't I? Simply because I don't give up any good habits that will maintain and or improve the way I, you know, present myself to the world. I would never give them up for another human being. Not, and I'm also not living in a position of need. You know, there are a lot of guys who need a woman in their life, or they're so focused on one, even before asking her out, you know, that they're already idolizing her. I also talk a lot about this, and it's not about talking down towards women because I'm simply a man. So I speak from a man's perspective. But the thing is, how many guys are in, this is the one. There are 7 billion plus people on the planet. How do you know that she's the one? You traveled all around the world, finding the one, building your character. I think building your character is an ongoing process. It's never perfect. Nobody's perfect. That's actually a very famous quote. Nobody is perfect, and nobody will be perfect. I'm far from perfect, but I know I will put in the work every single day. And one nice thing about, no, not a nice thing, it's something maybe you can implement, before the end of the day, at the end of the day, before you go to bed, you say, this is it, I have done everything. And if you do this every single day, you start training your subconsciousness to do at daytime everything what you got. My day starts at 5:15, ends around 12 o'clock. Usually, I get up 5:15. Now I wake up around 4:15, and then I just start working a little bit on my phone. I don't want to label it as work because, like I always say, I'm not going into the coal mines hundreds of meters under the ground, and that's work, that's suffering. But I got my own disciplines. I got the calisthenics and the runs. I'm now preparing myself for a very long run, marathon length, first a half marathon, then a marathon, and then I want to go to the 100 kilometers challenge. And I got one challenge in my mind, is 152 kilometers. That is to the middle of Bulgaria. It's almost the middle, I think it's almost. It's from Sofia to Plovdiv is 152 kilometers. If I run 7 kilometers on an average per hour, then I would run for 23 hours non-stop. But that's something that I want to go to, because until the 31st of August I always had one little vice. Vices are smoke cigarettes and drinking beer. But despite drinking the beer, I always did what I have to do every single day. But now I even have more energy, and that's why I want to implement the very long runs. And for a lot of people, they are not long runs, but if you also think about this David Goggins guy, he did 200 miles, bear run or something, and he did it in 64 hours. And the winner, the number one guy, he did it in 46 hours. Yeah, see, 200 miles, that is 360 something kilometers. Yeah, that is probably not for me. 200 miles. At this point in my life, I would say that is not for me. 100 kilometers, 200 kilometer run, okay, but the above, yeah, that's insane, right? I mean, when you think about it, I also talked about this in other vlogs. When I reach around, let's say 20 kilometers, that's for me a lot. At this point in my life, that's a lot. And then I get in this state of mind that I'm running an automatic pilot. But can you imagine, or I'm trying to imagine, that when you run 200 miles plus, let's assume you're on 150 miles, how would that feel? What's going on in your mind? Or are you totally blank? That is something that I'm very curious about, because, and I don't want, I envy those people. I'm not jealous. I'm envy them, because they already know where they go with their mind, because your mind is going somewhere. See, and I was always in my life interested in digging deep into my own brain. That's why I also used for over a decade boatloads of drugs, all kind of drugs except heroin. And the thing is, I'm very honest about it, I'm very transparent also about it. The thing is, also when it's about deep diving in your own mind, people also start talking a little bit about this microdosing mushrooms. I never microdosed, everything all over the top and a deep dive. And that's why I'm now, because I'm not using anything for years already, so now I'm still want to deep dive. And I think running is one of those things that will maybe get you some similar high, which I do get actually. Every day I do a run. Yesterday I did not do a run, I did a mountain walk, the Vitisja mountain. Now I'm also walking. Probably I'm gonna do a total of 10 kilometers just walking, a little bit talking. That's why I'm talking now. And the thing is, you know, that's something different. But okay, I'm walking slowly towards the boulevard Bulgaria, and then I get in the tram and go to the Rakovsky Stadium to train over there, calisthenics, or I go to Bojana. I think I'm going to Bojana, a little bit different. Let's see, over here, Krasnovcel. We lived actually for more than 3 years also over there, Bookstone. Got some history over here in Sofia, you know, and then we went away to Malta. And now I'm already back again in Bulgaria for 3 years. Time flies, time flies. But this morning I had a conversation with somebody. You know, I always evaluate myself at the end of the day, at the end of the week, end of the month, and end of the year. And you know, the older I get, the more calculated I become when it's about taking actions. I'm always judging the actions like where does it benefit me, that you know, it speeds up the process, or I maintain my health, or increase my knowledge, or increase, you know, the speed of thinking. See, you know, when I train, I always train with the focus on that my brain keeps healthy in a way that it's above average. And this is not about bragging, because I'm speaking every single day, 7 days a week, 30 days a month, sometimes 31 days a month, I understand, 365 days a year, you know, with people, and I remember all the conversations. And it is not to brag, but it is simply I put in the work. I'm focused also on the brain. The rest, the outside, is collateral positive damage, you know, and damage sometimes in the most realistic, yeah, wording. Because yeah, let's say and a lot of people always ask me, how do you maintain this, what do you eat? I don't eat extremely amounts of food. I don't eat special foods. I don't take supplements. I do eat a lot of extra vitamin C, a lot, and I drink huge amounts of water. And with huge amounts of water, on an average, I drink around between 5 and 7 liters of water. You know, that is what I do every single day. And I go over here into the mineral water place in the center of Sofia. So, you know, I got all the mineral waters from the Vitisja mountain going through my veins. You know, I'm also always very grateful for the fact, you know, that water comes with such an abundance, you know, for free, and it keeps on flowing. And yesterday I talked with a guy. He talked about in one village here, or 2 villages actually, they have only 2 hours per day access to water, which is, you know, then I also again realized, you know, water is not for everybody such an abundant thing. You know, also when you think about those people in Africa, they have to walk for 5 hours or maybe a few hours for a couple of liters of very dirty water, and in the end they're gonna end up with all kind of diseases because of the dirty water. And that is also something. But yeah, let's cut this first live stream, and I think I will replace in between now on a regular base with a live stream. So I got now on my channel the Train With Me series, the playlist. I still have to work on it. I got the normal vlogs and I got the series. The series are more surrounded or around one single topic. I think another nice topic would be to be considerate, you know, to be more considerate with the world and all the things that I speak about. If you would implement just a tiny percentage of it, you know, your life would be way much more colorful. you would be way much more enthusiastic to wake up in the morning. A lot of people also ask me, where did you get the energy from at 46? I always say, I cannot wait to wake up. The only reason that I sleep is because I need it, but I don't like it. That's for sure. The thing is, you know, sometimes many times actually in the past, you know, I skipped sleeping, but then it bites you in the ass, especially after when you stayed for 2 days awake, bites you in the ass. That's not the nice part, because it swirls along. It's not that you get bit in the ass just for an hour after 2 days. No, it swirls along. You're foggy between the ears. Everything what fogs, F-O-G, not the other word, you know, fogs my mind. I prefer not to do it. Anyway, my first vlog, let's end it. And it does not feel weird. Like I said in the beginning, I did feel a little bit weird. I'm very honest about it. So I'm gonna observe my feelings about it, try to give it a place, be in peace with it. You know, maybe I did make some mistakes. And like with all my vlogs, I keep them unedited. I don't even believe that you can edit your live streams, but my vlogs are all unedited, just the way they are. The shorts, they are done by CapCut, long form to shorts. Maybe I will give this other tool a try. There's one other tool, I don't know what the name, oh yeah, Opus. Maybe I will try that one. But yeah, the amount of reels and shorts that I want to upload, at the moment I got around 1500 Instagram reels ready to go, need to be scheduled. Just drip feeding them to multiple Instagram accounts. So that is also something that I need to do. Make .com scenarios or give them away. And that's it. Live, first time. I don't have. I'm gonna do a little bit more research on it, and I'm also gonna do now some marketing on my YouTube channel, the main one, DOTCOMBARON, because I do want more subscribers, and I understand I have to increase probably my value and optimize my speaking. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's stop this live. How we do this? No, how we stop the live? I don't know. Oh yeah, are you sure you want to stop the streaming? Yes. Ciao for now.